How to change a man. Now, before all the boys jump on board and start abusing me and say, Renee, what are you doing? You can't change us. Stick with me, because I promise you my answer to this question for both men and women will keep you satisfied. Want to know how to change a man? Let's find out. Hey everyone, I'm Renee Slansky. I am a professional dating and relationship coach, and I help women from around the world find and build the relationship that they desire and deserve. Now, it's really funny, and I'm in an ahhing whether or not to do this video, because I was like, ooh, it's such a controversial sort of heading, how to change a guy. On one hand, I get so many women come to me and say, Renee, how do I change my husband? What do I say to get him to do this? How can I get him to want what I want? How can I get him to do these things that I need in order to be able to feel fulfilled in a relationship? Then on the other hand, men come to me and they say, Renee, can you tell women to stop trying to change us? Okay, so we've got these two common themes. And what I want to do is I kind of want to be Switzerland, right? I want to be that ground in between where I'm able to give you both an answer that is relevant to both your desires and needs that need to be fulfilled in a relationship. So here are my tips on how to change a guy. The number one thing that you should remember is that you cannot force him or anyone to change, okay? You cannot choose how someone wants to respond to something or how somebody feels about something. That's why it's really important. If you're dating someone, make sure that you're actually compatible, that you're not trying to fix them into someone who you believe that they should be just because that is what you need in a relationship. A relationship is a two-way street, and we shouldn't be going into relationships with the thought process of I'll date their potential or I'll date who I want them to be, rather than actually seeing them for who they are. We can get into this habit as women as turning men into these projects, and I think that's one of the things that guys really hate. They want to know that who they are is enough, because they already carry a lot of pressure within themselves to feel that they have to be man enough. They feel that they have to meet this expectation that society has placed on them to be the breadwinner, to be the one that provides the security, the safety, the future, and all these other things. We as women need to firstly support men for who they are. We need to understand that if we are dating men purely so that we can change them for who we want them to be, then we're not dating for the right reasons. The moment that you nag him, the moment that you try to change him and try to force him, is the moment that he will actually start to shut down, and he'll either do completely the opposite to prove to you that he doesn't want to be changed, that he doesn't want to be forced, or he's going to run a mile and actually just have a relationship with someone who does actually accept him for who he is. So my first point is this: affirm who he is. If you want to get to know how to change a man, then affirm who they are. When we are able to build people up instead of tearing them to pieces, then they're going to feel more confident, and they're also going to actually want to respond more positively as well. Respond to praise first rather than negative things. If you're constantly putting someone down all the time, or picking them to pieces, or being really critical of who they are and focusing on who they're not, rather, then they're not really going to be excited or feeling loved or filled up enough to be able to want to step up into who they maybe know they can be, or step into those areas where they know they need to improve a little. Words of affirmation is usually one of the biggest love languages for most men out there, that and physical touch. So girls, use it to your advantage, not to manipulate him, but to actually build him up, to affirm the good qualities that you love about him. If you're constantly focusing on the things and the areas that you want to change about him, then that's all you're going to see. And that's why a lot of conflict and I guess problems arise in marriages and long-term relationships, is because we get so focused on the areas that we want to fix that we forget about the areas that are already good and thriving. And whatever you water is what grows. So if you're able to start affirming who he is, affirming what he does do. Maybe he doesn't do the washing all the time. Maybe he doesn't take the rubbish out all the time. Maybe he doesn't always buy you flowers and do all those things that you magically want him to do. But what does he do? Focus on that, affirm that verbally to him. Don't just think about it, but actually speak that praise over him, build him up a little. Then I guarantee you, by just speaking words of affirmation on him alone, he will start to mold, he will start to flourish, and he'll actually start to want to do more for you, purely because you have affirmed that who he is in that point in his life is enough. Number 2, model the behavior that you want to see. It's one thing to tell somebody to do something that you want them to do, and then you're not actually doing it, and it's a little bit of a contradiction. If you really want someone to speak kinder to you, for example, then the best thing that you can do is speak kindness yourself. If you want someone to be a better husband, then be a better wife. If you want someone to be more motivated, then how's your motivation going? It's so easy to get into the habit of just pointing the finger at them and expecting them to do all the work and them to do all the change. Now, maybe they do need to change a little bit more. Maybe they do need to put in more effort. But if you are constantly, again, just making them do all the work and you're not really taking responsibility for your role in the relationship, then it doesn't really give them a reason to turn around and actually step up to the level that you want them to step up to. And not only that, by you putting that first step forward and showing him that you are actually dedicated to being a better woman, or, leveling up to the role that you have in the relationship, it's actually going to motivate him, and it's going to give him reason to believe that you are someone that doesn't just say things because you only want it for yourself, but you're saying these things because you yourself are contributing to your role in the relationship as well. The third thing is this: speak what it is that you want. Now, number 1, that's going to be hard to do because automatically we're going to be in this habit of always doing negative and maybe picking out all the bad things, or, because we're frustrated about this area of our life. But if we choose to actually speak what it is that we want, not in a way of, oh, you don't do this and I want you to do this, but rather, oh, I love it when you take the rubbish out, or I love it when you do this, or I love it when you do that, or even when you're out with girlfriends and you get into the habit of bitching about your marriage or bitching about your husband, if you're able to then just change all that and actually speak love and life into that conversation with your girlfriends, over your husband, over your partner, and over your relationship, then I guarantee you that your relationship will start to change, even if he's not there to hear it. Purely because you're actually training your brain to start to grow and water things that you want to receive, instead of focusing on the things that you don't actually have. And the last thing, if you want to be able to change a man, is encourage who he is and who he can be as well. Some people don't really know their potential, or they're scared of their potential, and they're scared to actually be more because they've only ever done life one way. And it's not until other people come into our world and they show us a better version, or they bring out better versions of ourselves, that we're even aware of what it is and who it is that we can be. If you're able to not only affirm who he is, speak what it is that you want over the relationship, and model and encourage that behavior, but then also say to him, wow, I think you could do this, and I think you'd be amazing at this, what you're doing is you're giving him permission to be more, without the expectation that if he doesn't reach it, then he's a failure. And I think that's one of the reasons why we really hold back, especially for men, because if they have that expectation on themselves from the woman that they love, or their wife, or their friends, or their family, that they need to be more, then A, they feel like they're not enough as who they are, but not only that, they have this fear of failure, okay? And we want to make sure that we're building the mental health of our man in our relationship, that we're actually encouraging his potential. And that doesn't mean that we're discouraging who he is right now, but at the same time, allowing him and reminding him that there is so much more that he can be. And it's not just for himself, but it's also for the benefit of the relationship as well. So there you go, guys. I'm really interested to hear from you men out there. What did you think about my response? Did you actually think that that is, a practical and achievable way to help encourage change within you? And ladies, do you think that that is something that you're able to do? And does it actually sound like something that is completely healthy? Okay guys, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I do new videos every Tuesdays and Thursdays. Send this on to a girlfriend or send it on to your wife or your partner. If you're finding that she's nagging you at the moment, and that she's just like kind of forcing you and trying to change you all the time and blah, blah, send this video to her. Remember guys, relationships are a two-way street. We can't just expect the other person to change and the other person not to contribute to the change as well. All right guys, that's it for me. I'll see you in my next video. Bye for now.